Today on Investigate TV Plus, a cancer diagnosis during pregnancy leaves a young couple with an uncertain future.
My husband and I, our hearts just dropped.
I'm Tisha Powell.
And I'm Lee Zurich. While it is rare, we found women diagnosed with cancer during pregnancy is on the rise.
But there's still this wide belief that if a woman gets cancer while she's pregnant, she needs to terminate the baby.
We uncover other misconceptions about cancer and pregnancy and how moms-to-be can navigate treatment.
Plus, doctors left one man with little hope he would ever walk again, but he turned a first step into a full-speed recovery.
Docs told me and my family this journey's gonna be a marathon. Well, I did my marathon.
The inspiration behind his motivation to defy the odds.
Then, we introduce you to an artist who works in the dark to reveal his work during first light.
It's pretty awesome that, I'm able to contribute back to my community. I love it.
In-depth stories that inform and inspire. You're watching Investigate TV Plus.
For many women, pregnancy is a time of constant change.
But complicating it with a cancer diagnosis can feel catastrophic and life-threatening for both mother and baby.
However, women can safely get treatment while pregnant and give birth to healthy babies. It's been done for decades.
Reporter Kristen Crowley shows us why misconceptions about treatment can be deadly and introduces us to a mom who says getting a second opinion saved both her and her daughter's lives.
At just 35 years old, Reggie Hong is a survivor. Battling an illness she thought she was far too young to endure.
What is it like going through cancer treatments?
Cancer treatment is not easy.
Reggie's breast cancer story starts like many others, when she noticed a change in her breast, in her case, dimpling.
About a week and a half later, I got the scan from hell.
What did it say?
A 4.2 centimeter tumor and an affected lymph node.
But Reggie's breast cancer journey would not be like many others, because her diagnosis didn't just affect her.
I was 15 weeks pregnant when I found out.
Pregnant with a little girl that she and her husband were eager to meet. But how could she treat her cancer and safely continue her pregnancy? Her doctor said she couldn't.
And he's like, I don't think she's gonna survive. And you should consider termination.
What did you think when you heard that?
My husband and I, our hearts just dropped. And we just couldn't imagine that. We'd given her a name. We just did a gender reveal cake.
It's pink.
Reggie was prepared to forego treatment entirely to save her baby.
Oh, you're gonna have a baby sister.
Potentially sacrificing herself. A decision she wouldn't have to make.
Where's her head at today?
Way down here.
Because her doctor was wrong. Not only could Reggie continue the pregnancy, she could get treatment.
We can successfully accomplish both goals of great cancer care and having a great full-term pregnancy.
Dr. Jamie Wagner is a surgical breast oncologist at the University of Kansas Health System, the place where Reggie got a second opinion.
How long have we had this ability to treat women with breast cancer and allow them to continue their pregnancy?
Probably 2 decades.
But there's still this wide belief that if a woman gets cancer while she's pregnant, she needs to terminate the baby. What do you think the biggest misconceptions are about chemotherapy during pregnancy?
You can't carry a pregnancy if you're on chemotherapy, and if you do, you're causing harm to your baby.
Dr. Mark Parrish was part of Reggie's treatment team at the University of Kansas Health System. The maternal fetal medicine doctor says chemotherapy should be avoided in the first trimester because it can be toxic to DNA development. But after 12 weeks, the health impacts to babies, he says, are minimal.
So we know that it can make babies immunocompromised and it can cause them to be anemic. Both of those are correctable outside of the womb.
Have we seen any long-term ramifications to children who were exposed to chemotherapy in the womb?
Yeah, not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge.
Cancer in pregnancy is rare, but it is on the rise. A study published in BMC Cancer found the incidence of pregnancy-associated breast cancer went from about 13 cases per 100,000 pregnancies in 1969 to 19 cases by 2022. And the American Cancer Society says thousands of cancer cases in pregnancy happen every year in the United States, with breast cancer among the most common.
I say breast cancer and lymphoma and leukemias are probably the top 3 things that we'll see patients get diagnosed with during their pregnancy.
Are you seeing more of these cases?
I feel like we're seeing more. Again, the question comes, why?
Studies suggest a big factor is maternal age. As you get older, your risk for cancer increases, and the average maternal age is rising in the United States.
Here's her foot and here's her face.
Whatever the reason, the rise in cases coupled with the misconceptions of treatment makes sharing Reggie's story all the more important.
Do you think there are women out there right now who are pregnant who get cancer and who will terminate their pregnancy because they think they have to?
Probably, yeah.
Fortunately, she sought a second opinion, and I think that that's the important aspect of her story, is the value and radical change that you can have in treatment recommendations by getting a second opinion, but also who you get your second opinion with.
We decided to name her Elena because Elena means a light in the darkness, and that's what she was for us.
She looks like she's doing great.
She is. She's thriving. She's getting bigger and bigger every day.
Reggie completed 12 weeks of chemotherapy, all while pregnant with Elena.
All right, we're gonna ring it together.
And when that treatment was finally over, mother and daughter both celebrated as survivors.
My baby's fine, and we made it through, and it's just incredible to be here.
Reggie had a single mastectomy and still needs to complete radiation treatment, but she says her prognosis is good.
She hopes her story serves as a reminder to future moms out there to always get a second opinion, as it could save 2 lives.
Experts tell us something that can further complicate cancer in pregnancy is that disease can be missed. Women may attribute certain symptoms wrongly to their pregnancy, but doctors say regular checkups and conversations with your doctor can help ensure a healthy pregnancy. When women have children can have an impact because, as Kristen mentioned, experts say one risk factor at play is maternal age.
Reggie was 35 when she was diagnosed. According to the Susan G. Komen Foundation, women who give birth to their first child at age 35 or older are at a slightly increased risk for breast cancer.
But starting a family later in life is a trend that's growing.
Reporter Heather Graff joins us now to explain why.
Lee and Tisha, according to recent data from the National Center for Health Statistics, more women over 40 are having children than ever before, for the first time surpassing the teen birth rate. In 2023, they made up about 4% of all births. It might not sound like a lot, but it's more than a 3-fold increase from just a few decades ago. Dr. Dallas Reed is the director of perinatal genetics at Tufts Medical Center in Boston. She says advances in fertility technology, like IVF and egg freezing, have helped make motherhood more feasible for some women.
I think they certainly lengthen the time that people may have to have their children and kind of slow that clock down.
But that decision to wait isn't always intentional, as many couples struggle with infertility. Still, Reed notes putting off parenthood can also have advantages, with parents having more time to gain financial security and life experience.
I think that stability piece is a big benefit and helps the couple, but also the child, give them that good foundation to be able to excel.
For women of any age planning to have children, experts say there are steps you can take to increase your chances of a healthy pregnancy. Among the recommendations, talk to your healthcare provider about your health history. Get 400 micrograms of folic acid daily, cut out alcohol and tobacco, and maintain a healthy weight.
Still ahead, a man given little chance to survive was determined to prove doctors wrong.
They've initially said it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and they said that, you'll never walk again.
How a father's unwavering belief helped his son defy impossible odds.
Plus, we take you to a social space curated for family on 4 paws.
The dogs absolutely love it. They have their dog friends. We have dogs that come on a regular basis every single day. They have their dog friends that come and play with.
How some dog owners pamper their pup with a craft beer in hand. Your brain is an essential organ, which is why a fall, crash, or blow to the head could change your life in an instant. According to the CDC, traumatic brain injuries, or TBIs, are a major cause of death and disability.
Depending on the severity of the injury, those who get a TBI may face health problems for a few days to symptoms that last a lifetime.
A Kansas man pulled off what some say is a miracle after doctors told him he'd never walk again.
Reporter Zach Summers shows us how motivation and family support inspired him to cross a major finish line.
Nice day for a run.
3 times a week, Patrick McGinnis goes for a run.
It's great therapy.
Not for himself,
You get that blood flowing.
but for what it means for his son, James.
I do it because every time we go out, James gets better.
Okay. You ready? Let's roll.
For the McGinnis family, running is about more than miles.
You're doing a 13:3 pace right now, James.
It's purpose.
It's your Friday night game of the week, Olathe East and Olathe South.
11 years ago, during a televised high school football game, everything changed for this family.
The injured Hawk laying on the field is James McGinnis.
James, an Olathe East senior, collapsed on the field after a hit.
When they turned him over on his back, though, I knew then it was serious.
He suffered a traumatic brain bleed. Doctors gave him less than a 7% chance to survive.
I went into research mode. Okay, he's got a brain injury, so what's the recovery like? What's our next steps?
James spent weeks in the ICU. On day 5, he signed "I love you," giving his parents a glimpse of hope.
Showed the doctors, and they said, well, that's reflex. And I was like, no, I don't think so. I think it's purposeful.
From that moment on, James kept proving his doctors wrong.
Try that again, over towards mom. There you go.
They initially said, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. And they said that, you'll never walk again.
7.
It took James 9 months to walk on his own. 9 years to run.
Got this, buddy.
First a mile, then a 5K, a 10K.
Yeah, whatever it takes, buddy.
After a half marathon in 2024, the 29-year-old set his sights on something bigger.
This is your cheering section, buddy.
When he locks in on a goal, there's nothing that stops him.
You got it, man.
In November, with his dad and best friend by his side and resistance bands keeping him upright, James finished his first marathon, 8 hours, 10 minutes.
26 miles, but don't forget that point 2. I was like, woo, I'm here.
Go, James. Along the course, Patrick recorded Jamesisms, or his son's core beliefs, one at every mile. At mile 10, tell me I can't, and I will show you I can.
Docs told me and my family this journey's gonna be a marathon. Well, I did my marathon.
I think it's somewhat humbling.
James's rehabilitation doctor, Dr. Brad Steinley, says James's prognosis was grim, but his recovery has been remarkable, a show of strength that's made him a better physician.
I have hundreds of patients that, while I think that we help them, they help us. I haven't had anybody quite like James.
As for what's next, James is already a step ahead.
To the side, James.
With goals to now run the Boston Marathon.
Full sprint, bud.
And maybe even the 2028 Paralympics.
I'm always saying, ooh, that looks fun. Let's do it, Dad.
And Dad always does.
I think he's just getting started.
Because for this father-son duo,
how are y'all?
It's never been about the finish line.
You know, we've seen a lot of inspiring stories on this show. I don't know if any top that one. That's incredible.
A magnificent comeback story.
Yeah.
And he did his marathon.
He did his marathon. He's going to do more of them, it sounds like, too.
I can see that.
Good for him.
Yeah. Well, now we want to highlight two organizations across the country with the same goal to improve the lives of TBI survivors.
In Missouri, the Brain Injury Foundation of St. Louis opened a clubhouse that specializes in helping TBI survivors return to their jobs.
We wanted to have something where people could come to before they're really ready for work. Or it's also for folks who come who aren't wanting to go back to work at all, but are just looking for something to help improve their lives.
The clubhouse, open 4 days a week, also allows participants to relearn life skills such as cooking and cleaning.
We found a similar mission in Toledo, Ohio. The Traumatic Brain Injury Resource Center holds cooking lessons for survivors. Founder Jackie Moore says surviving her own TBI inspired her to open the center.
Long story short, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, my brain injury is a 9.5. So I live with all of the severity of every individual that walks through our doors.
The Resource Center also has a food pantry intentionally designed to look like a grocery store as an educational tool in recovery.
Still ahead, we take you to a beach where intricate lines in the sand create a geometric masterpiece from above.
It's pretty awesome that, I'm able to contribute back to my community. I love it.
We reveal the inspiration behind his work.
But first, Barks and Brews.
And it is every dog's favorite bar.
We take you to a one-of-a-kind pet playground where humans are happy to hang out too.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime online. Just subscribe to our YouTube channel at Investigate TV. You can catch stories and full episodes.
Many pet parents would do anything for their fur baby.
That includes shelling out a lot of money. Capital One estimates by 2030, pet spending in the U.S. will total almost $200 billion. To break it down per person, in 2024, the average American owner spent $2,026 on their pets.
In Portland, Oregon, a premier pooch playground gives dogs a space to play while their owners enjoy a brew.
Reporter Io Elise takes us to Cycle Dog.
My favorite is actually watching people trying to drag their dogs by without coming in.
They say every dog has its day, and that happens to be every day at Cycle Dog in Northwest Portland.
I mean, this is a private club for dogs that's right here in Oregon, and it is every dog's favorite bar.
Yes. The tavern that serves Oregon beer, wine, and ciders, a taco food cart that's right out front, and to top it all off, an indoor and outdoor dog park.
The dogs absolutely love it. They have their dog friends. We have dogs that come on a regular basis every single day. They have their dog friends they come and play with.
Lynette Fidrich is the owner of Cycle Dog, and she says that they even have tiny dog hours where the smallest of dogs can pick on pups their own size.
So when we moved to this space here, we thought, why not combine craft beer, dog park, interaction with our community, and so that's how the dog park was born.
While the canines play, humans are hard at work in Cycle Dog's production space, creating handmade dog toys and more from recycled bike parts.
It's a wonderful way to actually make sure that what we're building is what dogs are going to truly love and is going to last.
Seeing the dogs at play allows for fetching new ideas. Now, 6 years later, it's a space where pooches and people are enjoying each other's company.
What I love about the dog park is just how much engagement, friendships, and conversation happens here that you don't see in a lot of places, and I think that's what makes this place really special.
Still ahead, a humble artist creates stunning patterns in sand.
I don't have any kind of artistic background or nothing like that.
We explain why the tools he uses to make his creations are just as impressive as his work.
You can watch Investigate TV Plus anytime streaming online. Get the app for Roku, Amazon Fire TV, and Apple TV. It's free to download.
Sugar-soft white sand and crystal-clear seas are just some of what draws tourists to the Emerald Coast.
The name refers to the 100-mile stretch of popular beaches along the Florida Panhandle.
One well-known destination is Panama City Beach.
If you visit, you may find intricate designs in the sand.
Reporter Emmeline Ivy introduces us to the artist behind the work.
Before dawn, almost every morning,
It's usually dark when I get here.
you'll find Charlie Cofield gearing up for another day of work.
I'm a maintenance guy here at the Landmark.
As usual, he grabs his rakes and heads to the beach. But these rakes aren't for fixin', they're for art.
I make designs in the sand. I get here in the morning and start raking.
Creating art in the dark is impressive, but Charlie can't even see his finished design from where he's standing at beach level. In order to get the full picture, you need to view his art from high above. His inspiration?
I seen one of those desktop, the little rock gardens with the rakes, and I said, well, I can just make a bigger version of that.
And in typical Charlie fashion, he also makes his own rakes.
I don't have any kind of like artistic background or nothing like that.
No need to pick your jaw up off the floor because Charlie doesn't even start the day with a plan.
I don't draw them out beforehand or anything like that.
Or a ruler.
I measure it out with my feet, my steps.
And Charlie doesn't get paid for any of his designs. For him, it's just a hobby.
I've always been on the beach, and to be able to come to the beach after 25 years of living here, you know, it's pretty awesome that, yeah, I'm able to contribute back to my community. I love it.
With each new day, you'll find Charlie in the sand, turning the beach he's always loved into a canvas for others to enjoy.
And that's it for us on Investigate TV Plus. I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Tisha Powell. Thanks for watching.
On the next Investigate TV Plus, as reading scores fall across the country, a state that once ranked near the bottom in literacy made a major turnaround.
Mississippi used to be the one that we could always make an assumption about. Well, not anymore.
We examine how it's now serving as a solution for other education systems across the country.